Yes, hello. Hello, everyone. Yes, hello. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Everyone, please confirm बेटा am I audible? Am I visible clearly to all of you? एक बार सभी लोग कंफर्म कर देंगे ऑडियो वीडियो क्लियर है. Everyone, please confirm in the chat box बेटा am I audible? Am I visible clearly to all of you? Audio video is clear to everyone. Audio video is clear. Very good. So in the last class we have covered some introductory part of the surveying. Surveying. What is surveying? What is the weightage? What is the importance of this subject from our exam point of view? All these points we have covered. We have discussed the syllabus part and what are the various chapters that we are going to cover in this course. That part we have already covered. So till now, what we have discussed, what is the conclusion? Surveying is an art for determining the relative position of any point. Point may be on the earth's surface, above the earth's surface or below the earth's surface, and to define the relative position of that point, we need to perform certain measurements. So what are the various measurements? With the help of those measurements we can define the position of a point. So those were linear measurement and angular measurement. So now we will discuss in detail about what are the linear measurement and how we can perform. What are the angular measurements, how we can perform, what are the various instruments that are available for the linear and angular measurement. That is the part of the discussion. So now we are going to start our first chapter, and that is the fundamental of surveying. So we are going to start the first chapter, chapter number 1, and that is the fundamental of surveying. So fundamentals of surveying में we will discuss about the definition of the surveying that we have already discussed. Then we will go for the classification of surveying, principle of surveying, objective of surveying, and we will discuss about the plan or map. What is this terminology, plan or map? We will talk about that also. So let's start the discussion. So as of now, again I am repeating the first topic in the fundamental, that is the definition of surveying. So what we have discussed, surveying is an art for defining the relative position of a point may be on the earth's surface, above the earth's surface, or below the earth's surface, with linear and angular measurement. With linear and angular measurements. So that was the definition. So again I am highlighting some important term in this from this definition. First was the relative position. Relative position means always we will define the position of any point with reference to a fixed reference point. Without reference we cannot define the position of any point. Yes or no? Then with the help of the linear and angular measurement, with the help of the linear and angular measurement, linear measurement, that means measurement of the distances. linear measurement, we will talk about the measurement of the distance. So we will talk about the two types of the linear measurement. We will talk about the two types of the linear measurement. One is going to be the horizontal distance. One is going to be the horizontal distance and another will be the vertical distance. We will talk about the horizontal distance and we will talk about the vertical distance. Similarly, if we talk about the angular measurement, it deals with the measurement of angles. It deals with the measurement of the angles, and here also we will measure two types of the angle. Here also we will measure the two types of the angle. One is going to be the horizontal angle and another will be the vertical angle. Horizontal angle and vertical angle. So first we will discuss about this term. What do you mean by the horizontal distance? What do you mean by the vertical distance? What do you mean by the horizontal angle and what do you mean by the vertical angle? Any one of you? Can you define the horizontal distance? How we can define the horizontal distance? How we can define the horizontal distance? How we can define the horizontal distance? We know about the distance. If there are two fixed points, it is the linear measurement between those points will be known as the distance. Yes or no? But how you can define the horizontal distance? But how you can define the horizontal distance? How you can define the vertical distance? How you can define the horizontal angle? How you can define the vertical angle? So let's say, chalo, let's see the discussion. So I am talking about the distance. Horizontal distance means distance between 2 points. Distance between 2 points lying on same plane. Distance between the 2 points when the points are lying on the same plane. तो for example, ये आपको screen दिख रहा है. This screen is visible. Consider this as a plane. Consider this as a plane. Let's say there are 2 points A and B. Let's say there are 2 points A and B. Can I say both these points are lying on the same plane? Can I say both these points are lying on the same plane? Yes or no? Point A is on the plane, on the same plane, point B is there. If the points are lying on the same plane, can I say the distance between these 2 points is going to be the horizontal distance? Can I say this distance AB is going to be the horizontal distance between the point A and B? This AB distance is going to be the horizontal distance between the point A and B. Now let's consider two different planes. So let's say this is your plane 1. This is your plane 1 and let's say this is your another plane. This is your plane 2. This is the, let's say this is your ceiling of your room and this is the floor. This is the ceiling of your room. This is the floor of your room. Let's consider a point P. Let's consider a point P on the ceiling and point Q on the floor. Let's consider point P on the ceiling and point Q on the floor. And if you are defining this distance between these 2 points P and Q, can I say this PQ is going to be the vertical distance? Can I say this PQ is going to be the vertical distance? Because points are not lying on the same plane. तो हाउ वी कैन डिफाइन द, बोथ आर द डिस्टेंसेस, दोनों ही डिस्टेंस हैं, दोनों ही लीनियर मेजरमेंट हैं. Both are the distances, both are the linear measurement. When the 2 points are lying on the same plane, that distance we are defining as the horizontal distance between the point. When the points are lying on the different plane, the linear measurement between the points will be considered as the vertical distance measurement. I hope the point is clear to everyone. Everyone please confirm. What is the horizontal distance, what is the vertical distance, and दोनों का ही मेजरमेंट को आप क्या बोलने वाले हैं? लीनियर मेजरमेंट. In the linear measurement, we will measure the horizontal distance as well as the vertical distance. In the case of linear measurement, we will measure the horizontal distance as well as the vertical distance. So I am unable to see your comments. I am unable to see your comments. तो एक बार सभी लोग कंफर्म कर देंगे. Am I audible? Am I visible clearly to all of you? Everyone please confirm. Am I audible? Am I visible clearly to all of you? Is there any problem? Because I am unable to see your comments. Okay, now I can see the comments. एक बार सभी लोग कंफर्म कर देंगे बेटा. Everyone do confirm. Everyone do confirm. The discussion till now is clear to everyone how we can define the horizontal distance, how we can define the vertical distance. Okay. So, sir, I have one doubt. Sir, I have one doubt. Sir, let's say this is the plane. Let's say this is the plane 1. And let's say this is the another plane 2. These are the two different plane 1 and plane 2. Sir, let's say I am considering this point as A point and this point as B point. Sir, what about this distance? Sir, what about this AB? This will be the horizontal distance or the vertical distance? This will be the horizontal distance or vertical distance. Neither this is the horizontal distance nor the vertical distance. So how we can define this distance? How we can define this distance? So this distance is going to be the inclined distance between the point A and B. This distance is going to be the inclined distance between the point A and B. Can we define like this? So let's say if we are considering this slope as theta. So if this theta is equal to 90 degree, if this theta is equal to 90 degree, can I say this is going to be the vertical distance? If this theta is 90 degree, can I say this distance is going to be the vertical distance? If this theta is going to be 0 degree, if this theta is going to be 0 degree, can I say this is going to be the horizontal distance? Any distance between theta is equal to 0 and theta is equal to 90, can we say this is going to be the inclined distance? Bolo. Can we define like this? If the slope is 90 degree, we are measuring the distance perpendicular to the plane. We are measuring the distance perpendicular to the plane. It is going to be the vertical distance. We are measuring the distance in the plane. This is going to be the horizontal distance. And if the theta will vary from 0 to 90 degree, This is going to be the this is going to be the inclined distance. Can we say like this? Can we say like this? I hope the discussion till now is clear to everyone. Everyone please confirm. Yes, similarly, now we are going to discuss about the vertical distance. Now we are going to discuss about the angular measurement. Now we are going to discuss about the angular measurement. It deals with the measurement of the angles. It deals with the measurement of the angles. So we will measure the horizontal angles. First we will talk about the horizontal angle. First we will talk about the horizontal angle. Again, consider this screen as a plane. Yeah, let's say. So let's say this is the plane. This is the some plane is there. Two lines are there. This is your line AB and this is your line AC. How we can define this angle theta? If I want to measure the angle between the line AB and AC, first you need to check. First you need to check, are these two lines are lying on the same plane? Answer is yes. Both the lines AB and AC are on the same plane. Can I say this theta is going to be the horizontal angle? Can I say this theta is going to be the horizontal angle? Let's take one more example. Let's take one more example. Consider this as your ground. Let's say there is a building. This is your building block. And at the top of the building there is a tower. At the top of the building there is a tower. And you are standing here. You are supposed to be stand here, something like this. And from this point, you are seeing the top of the point tower T. You are sighting the point T. You are sighting the top of this tower, that is point T, from the ground itself. From the ground itself. Can I say, if I want to define this angle theta, now this theta is going to be the vertical angle. Now this theta is going to be the vertical angle, yes or no? Now this theta will be the vertical angle. I hope the point is clear to everyone. So with the help of the linear measurement, with the help of the angular measurement, with the help of the measurement of horizontal distance, vertical distance, horizontal angle and vertical angle, we can define the relative position of the point. So this was the first part, that is related to the definition of the surveying. Now we are going to discuss the second part in the fundamental of surveying, that is going to be the division of surveying. That is going to be the division of surveying. We can divide our surveying into two parts. We can divide our surveying into two types. One is going to be the plane surveying. One is going to be the plane surveying and another is going to be the geodetic surveying. Another is going to be the geodetic surveying. Now, what is this plane surveying and what is this geodetic surveying? As all of we know, this is our earth. This is our earth. Yes or no? And we are living on the surface of the earth. And we are living on the surface of the earth. Yes or no? We are living on the surface of the earth. Can I say there is a curvature on the earth's surface? Can I say there is a curvature on the earth's surface? Our actual earth's surface is curved. So now let's consider 2 points A and B on the earth's surface. So let's say this is the point A and this is the another point B. So if I want to define the horizontal distance between the point A and B, if I want to measure the distance between the point A and B, so this should be the curved distance. In actual, it is the actual distance between the point A and B, and if you want to measure this distance, you have to measure along the curve, yes or no? Because there is a curve, there is a curvature on the earth's surface. There is a curvature on the earth's surface. But now what we are doing? Now what we are doing in our measurement, we are measuring the distance between the point A and B, something like this. We are measuring the distance between point A and B, something like this. Can I say, अगर मैं इस तरीके से measurement कर रहा हूं, तो we have neglected the effect of curvature of earth. We have neglected the effect of the curvature of earth in our measurement. If we are measuring this distance like this, yes or no? So if in our measurement, listen carefully, if in our measurement we are not considering the effect of the curvature of earth, or you can say we are neglecting the effect of the curvature of earth, that means we are talking about the plane surveying. We are considering earth's surface as a plane surface. We are considering earth's surface as a plane surface in our measurement, in the linear measurement, in the angular measurement. We are not considering the effect of the curvature of earth. Don't you think, if we are not considering the effect of the curvature of earth in our measurement, then the measurement is going to be incorrect? Because for the correct measurement, you should consider the effect of the curvature of earth. If you want to define the distance between the A and B correctly, you should measure the curve distance. Yes. So this is our assumption. In actual, there is a curvature on the earth's surface. But we are not considering that curvature. We are assuming earth's surface as a plane surface. Why? Because practically it has been observed. Practically it has been observed up to the length of 12 kilometer. Up to the length of 12 kilometer, if you are measuring the curve distance and plane distance. If you are measuring the 12 kilometer distance of the curve distance, so you will get the variation. You will get the variation of plus minus 8 to 10 mm. 8 to 10 mm when you are not considering the effect of the curvature of earth. There is a only difference of 8 to 10 mm. If we are measuring the curve distance, we are getting 8 to 10 mm more as compared to the plane distance. So for a length of 12 kilometer, if there is an error of 8 to 10 mm, can we neglect that error? When we are not considering, when we are ignoring the effect of the curvature of earth, yes, there is an error in our measurement. But can we say this error is very less? This error is very less. That's why we can neglect this error up to the length of 12 kilometer. there will be error of only 8 to 10 mm if we are neglecting the effect of the curvature of earth. So can I say for the small length or for the small area? For the small length or for the small area, we can neglect the effect of the curvature of earth, because along the curvature of earth, measurement is going to be difficult. Just to make the thing easy for us, we have applied this assumption. But there is some limitation. Plane survey is suitable only for the small area. Plane survey is suitable only for the small length. If we are going to take the measurement for the large area, if we are going to take the measurement for the large length, in that case, we need to consider the effect of the curvature of earth in our measurement. Otherwise, there will be more error, or we cannot neglect those error. There will be more error and we cannot neglect those error. I hope you got the point. I hope you got the point. Any doubt to anyone till now? Any doubt to anyone till now? So if we are considering the effect of the curvature of earth in our measurement, that survey will be considered as the geodetic survey. And if we are neglecting the effect of the curvature of earth in our measurement, that survey will consider as the plane survey. Plane survey is going to be suitable for the small area, for the small length, for the small distances, because the errors are quite less. We can neglect those errors. But if we are surveying, if we are collecting the data, if we are collecting the data for the large area, if we are collecting the data for the large area, for the large distances, in that case, we need to consider the effect of the curvature of earth, so that we can perform the measurement along the curvature. Where I have used Hindi, dear? When I have used Hindi, Trilok, when I have used Hindi, so whatever I have discussed till now, if you have any doubt, any query at any point, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. So again, I am repeating for all the students, all the technical discussion will be in English. All the terminology we are going to define, we are going to explain in English. We are only using Hindi sometimes as a filler. The discussion till now is clear to everyone. Please confirm in the chat box. So this was the discussion related to the plane survey and related to the geodetic survey. We should know the characteristics and we should know the limitation of the plane survey. Generally, our construction projects, like we are constructing the building, like we are constructing the road, generally it deals this survey, this data we need to collect for the small area or for the small length. So we can easily neglect the effect of the curvature. We can perform our measurements. We can perform our measurements by considering the earth's surface as a plane surface. So how can I calculate that in plane survey there is an error only 10 mm? You need not to calculate, dear. So I think you missed that part. When I have mentioned this data, I have mentioned it is observation. It has been practically observed. It was not measured by you. It has been practically observed for up to the length of 12 km. There is a difference of plane distance and curve distance as 8 to 10 mm. That observations we have considered. So we are not going to measure the curve distance, or we are not going to measure the horizontal distance. Point is clear? So we can now divide our entire surveying into two types. One is going to be the plane surveying, another is going to be the geodetic surveying. Now let's have some more discussion. Now let's have some more discussion about the plane surveying and about the geodetic surveying. So let's see. In the plane surveying, we have not considered the effect of the curvature of earth. In the plane surveying, we have not considered the effect of the curvature of earth. Yes. So that means we have assumed the earth surface as a plane surface. We have assumed the earth surface as a plane surface like this. And in the case of geodetic survey, we have considered the effect of the curvature of earth. So this is your earth surface. Or you can say this is your actual earth surface and this is your assumed earth surface. This is your assumed earth surface. Yes. This is the instrument that is known as the plumb bob. This is the instrument that is known as the plumb bob. With the help of the plumb bob, I can locate the direction of the gravity. Yes or no? With the help of the plumb bob, we can locate the direction of the gravity. As we know, under the effect of the gravity, every object will be attracted towards the center of the earth. Yes or no? Under the influence, under the action of the gravity, every object is attracted towards the center of the earth. Yes. So if we have considered the earth surface like this, it is the part of your earth like this. If this is your earth, somewhere there will be the center. Can I say, with the help of the plumb bob or plumb lines, we can locate the direction of the gravity at any point. At this point, we can locate the direction of gravity. At this point, we can locate the direction of gravity. At this point, we can locate the direction of gravity. Yes or no? Yes or no? With the help of plumb bob, can we locate the direction of gravity at any point? Yes or no? But when we have not considered the effect of the curvature of earth, so let's say this is the point A, this is the point B, and this is the point C. Here I have placed the plumb bob something like this. Here I have placed the plumb bob something like this. Can I say these are going to be your plumb lines? These are going to be your plumb lines or direction of gravity or direction of gravity lines. Yes or no? Similarly, if we are considering the effect of the curvature of earth, so let's say here also I have considered 3 point A, B and C. Here also I have considered 3 point A and B and C. When I will place the plumb bob, at point A, it will be something like this. At point B, it will be something like this. And at point C, it will be something like this. Because plumb lines are always going to be perpendicular to the surface. Plumb lines are always going to be the perpendicular to the surface. Yes or no? So from this explanation, can we draw a very important conclusion? From this explanation, can we draw Can we draw a very important conclusion? Like, in the case of geodetic survey, all the plumb lines are going to meet or connect. All the plumb lines are going to meet or the connect at the center of Earth. In the case of geodetic survey, all the plumb lines or the direction of gravity lines are going to meet at the center of the Earth. Yes or no? At the center of Earth. Yes or no? But where in the case of plane survey, all these plumb lines are going to parallel to each other. All the plumb lines or the direction of gravity lines are going to parallel to each other. In the case of plane survey, all the plumb lines or the direction of gravity lines are going to be concentric. All the lines are going to meet at the center of Earth in the case of geodetic survey. In the case of geodetic survey. Now I think the point is clear to everyone. So all the plumb lines are parallel in the case of plane survey. All the plumb lines or the direction of gravity lines are going to be concentric. All the lines will meet at the center of Earth in the case of geodetic survey. In the case of geodetic survey. I hope the discussion is clear to everyone. I hope the entire discussion till now is clear to everyone. So we have discussed about the definition of the surveying. We have discussed about the division of the surveying. Now we are going to start one more discussion, and that discussion is related to the classification of surveying. Now that discussion is related to the classification of surveying. Now the third discussion is related to the classification of surveying. Now the third discussion is related to the, we will recap all the concepts at the end, dear, don't worry. So whatever we will discuss in the class, we will conclude all the points at the end. We will summarize all the points, don't worry. Okay? So now we are going to classify the surveying. So we can perform this classification on the various basis. So we can classify the surveying, listen carefully. We can classify our surveying based on the instrument used for the measurement. For the linear measurement, for the angular measurement, for the measurement of the horizontal distance, for the measurement of the vertical distance, for the measurement of the horizontal angle, for the measurement of the vertical angle, you require some instrument, yes or no? Or without instrument you can perform all these measurements. Without instruments you can perform the measurements for the distances. Yes or no? Can you perform the angular measurement without instruments? Obviously the answer is going to be no. Obviously the answer is going to be no. So whenever we will go for the distance measurement, whenever we will go for the angles measurement, we require certain instruments. So which instruments we are using for the measurements? Which instruments we are using for the measurements? On that basis, we can classify the surveying. So based on instrument used, we can classify the surveying based on the instrument used. Like, for example, we can use the chain for the measurement of the horizontal distance. So this is going to be your chain surveying. We can use the tape for the distance measurement. So this is going to be the tape surveying. See carefully, Dadan. See carefully. No. No. Answer for your doubt is no, Dadan. I am covering all the points. I am covering. Listen carefully. There is no any fixed type. There are only 8 types. More than 15 types I am going to write in this slide itself. More than 15 classification, more than 15 types of the survey I am going to write in this slide itself. Yes, so we can use the compass for the angular measurement. So this is going to be the compass surveying. We can use the theodolite. We can use the theodolite for the measurement of the angles. This is going to be the theodolite surveying. Tachyometer, yes. We can use the tachyometer. These are the various instruments which we are going to use for the measurements of the distances and the angle. We can use the total station. We can use the total station. So this is going to be the total station surveying, etc. This is the classification that we have performed. This is the classification that we have performed based on the instrument that we are using for the measurements. First classification is clear to everyone. First classification, this is the etc. So from your reference, I have mentioned some instrument. Apart from the whichever instrument you are using, on that basis you can classify the survey. So first classification we have performed based on the instrument that we are using for our measurement. I hope the classification is clear to everyone. I hope the classification is clear to everyone, yes or no? Okay. Now we can classify the surveying based on the objective or purpose. So based on purpose of surveying. Based on the purpose of surveying, we can again classify the survey. Sir, objective or the purpose of the surveying that we have already covered. Surveying, the objective of the surveying was to collect the data, to collect the information, to collect the relative position of a point, yes or no? But now we are classifying the surveying based on the purpose. Every time you are going to collect the data, every time you are going to collect the data, will you collect the data for the same purpose? Every time when you are on the ground, you are collecting the data, you are defining the position of the point, you are defining the relative position of the point. All the time, the objective, the purpose of the data collection will be same. Answer will be no. Answer will be no. Purposes are different. For all the purposes, we require data. So collection of data is surveying. Collection of data is surveying, but for what purpose you are collecting the data, for what purpose you are collecting the information, based on those purpose we can also classify the survey. We can also classify the survey, yes or no? Can we classify the survey based on the purpose of the survey? So any example for this? Yes, we have various examples. Like we can go for the geological survey. We can go for the geological survey. What do you mean by the geological? Earth contains geological minerals, features. Below the earth surface, there are various minerals, yes or no? If we want to collect the information about those minerals, metals, which type of the data collection is required? Which type of the data collection is required? Obviously, we need to perform the geological survey. Very good. Defense survey. For the defense services, we required defense survey. We can go for the route survey. We can go for the route survey. We can go for the Hydrographic survey. Hydrographic survey deals with the water bodies. Hydrographic survey deals with the survey of water bodies like river, pond, etc. Yes. If you want to define the properties from where we have started our today's discussion, if you want to define the property or the building line, for that we need to perform the cadastral survey. For that we need to perform the cadastral survey. Yes, definitely mine survey. Yes, definitely you can go for the mine survey. We can collect the data related to the man-made or natural feature. So we can go for the topographical survey. Topographical survey. There are various antique structure. Like Taj Mahal, Qutub Minar, Char Minar, Gateway of India. These are the antique structures, yes or no? We want to collect the information about those antique structures. Which type of the survey we need to perform? Yes, the answer is going to be the archaeological survey. In that case, we will go for the archaeological survey. तो अब क्या can I write etc. Now I think with the help of this explanation, with the help of this example, you got how we are classifying the surveying based on the purpose of the surveying. In the first classification, we have classified the surveying based on the instrument used for the measurement. In the second classification, we have classified the survey based on the purpose of the surveying. I hope the point is clear to everyone. Till now. If anyone having any doubt, any query till now, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. So I think more than 8 I have already written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Apart from these 12, we have also mentioned some surveying. So I think there was some doubt, there was some query that, sir, is there only 8 types of the surveying? So whoever have asked this doubt, I hope you got the answer, beta. I hope you got the answer for your query. Yes or no? So again I am repeating, when I will complete the discussion, your all doubts will be answered automatically. I am going to explain all the things like this. Whatever possible doubts are there, I am going to cover all the possible doubts. But still, after the discussion, if you have any doubt, any query, again you can ask your doubt and query. What is the difference between the geological and geographical survey? Below the earth surface, geological features you will get below the earth surface. Above the earth surface, like building blocks, man-made structures, natural structures, you want to collect the information about the man-made natural structures, is known as the geographical or topographical survey. Route survey, for example, in a city, if you want to prepare a map which will only cover the routes, like road routes, like rail routes, like water routes, which type of the survey is required? If you want to represent the various routes in a map, for that the data is required, and that data you are going to collect with the help of the route survey. So if you are explaining the route facilities in a city, For that we need to perform the route survey. Any other doubt? Any other query? Any other doubt? Any other query? I hope that these two classifications are clear to everyone. These two classifications are clear to everyone. Now the next discussion. Now the next classification that we can do based on methods of surveying. What is the methods that you are going to use for the collection of the data? What is the various methods that you can apply for the this were the instrument. These were the instruments that you have used for the measurement. Now we are talking about the methods. So we can also classify the surveying based on the various methods. Like we can go for the triangulation. We can apply the method of triangulation for the collection of data. What is triangulation? So in the case of triangulation, you can divide the entire area which is to be surveyed into the small triangles. You can collect the data about the entire area, about the big area, by dividing the entire big area into the small number of triangles. And that methodology is known as the triangulation survey. Very good. We can classify the surveying based on the method that is going to be the traverse survey. That is going to be the traverse survey. That is going to be the traverse survey, traversing. We can use the concept of the trigonometry. We can use the concept of the trigonometry, and based on that method we can say that is the trigonometrical surveying. That is the trigonometrical surveying. Yes, abhi we can use the theory of the tachyometer. So this is going to be tachyometry survey. This is going to be the tachyometry is the method. Tachyometer is an instrument. Do not get confused. Tachyometer is the instrument and tachyometry is the method for collecting the data, for defining the relative position of a point. For defining the relative position of a point. I hope the point is clear to everyone. Etc. Can I write now? Etc. I hope with the help of these 4 examples, you have got this concept, how we can classify the surveying based on the method used for the surveying. Is there any other way to classify the surveying? Is there any other way? Yes. Based on the location. Based on the location, you can go for the land survey. You can go for the marine survey. You can go for the astronomical survey. You can go for the astronomical survey. Astronomical surveying deals with the, so if you want to locate the position of stars, sun, moon, all these, if you want to define the position, if you want to collect the data related to the star position of the star, sun and moon, in that case we should go for the astronomical survey. In that case we should go for the astronomical survey. To place based on the location, or you can say based on the place of survey. Based on the place of survey, you can also classifying the survey. So this was the discussion related to the classification of surveying. This was the discussion related to the classification of surveying. And I hope the entire discussion is clear to everyone. I hope, yes, there are various ways. Based on the accuracy, we have divided the surveying. Based on the accuracy, we have discussed about the division of surveying, plane surveying and geodetic surveying. If someone is going to ask which survey is more accurate, which survey is more accurate, plane survey or geodetic survey? Which survey is more accurate, plane survey or geodetic survey? So that we have entirely divided the surveying into two parts, and that we have covered as the division of surveying. That we have covered as the division of surveying. I hope the entire discussion about the classification is clear to everyone. So this classification is important from your exam point of view. So in your exam, you will find the question related to the classification of surveying in your GATE exam, in your ESE exam, in your state AE as well as in the JE exam. On all the technical exam, you will get some good question related to the definition based on the different classification of surveying. I want confirmation from all of you. Everyone do confirm in the chat box if the discussion till now is clear to everyone. Then we can proceed further. If the discussion till now is clear to everyone do confirm so that we can move further. And whatever I have discussed till now, if anyone having any doubt, any query at any point, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. I will answer, don't worry. What about others? What about others? Everyone please confirm, beta. Everyone please confirm. And again I am repeating the same thing. Please be interactive in the class. Whatever we will discuss, so there is very important role of your interaction. How effectively, how actively you are going to interact the class, the discussion will depend upon that factor also. So please be interactive in the class. If you want to understand all the concept in depth, in detail, you should be interactive in the class. Otherwise, there will be one-way communication. There will be one-way communication. Let's say from your end, you are continuously typing. Let's say in the chat box, you are continuously typing your comments. If you are continuously typing your queries, if you are continuously typing your doubts, and you are not getting any response from my side, if you are not getting any response from my side, how you will feel? How effective that communication is going to be? How effective that discussion is going to be? Obviously, it is going to be least effective. Communication means there should be a two-way. There should be a sender, there should be a receiver. Yes. In the same way, if I am delivering the concept, if I am explaining the concept to you, and if I am not getting any response from your side, if I am not getting any confirmation from your side, I think the effectiveness is going to be decreased. So that is very logical and scientific and relatable also. Yes or no? So that's why I am saying be interactive in the class. You are going to understand this subject in next level. So that's why interaction is important. Yes. Chaliye. Now let's move further. Now let's move further. So already I have covered. So I have discussed about the land survey. This is the definition part. We are doing the survey on the land. We have discussed about the hydrographic survey, survey related to the border bodies, water bodies. We can go for the aerial survey. So above the ground, we can collect the data above the ground. Next, we have discussed about the chain survey. For the linear measurement, we are using the chain or tape. We have discussed about the traverse survey based on the methodology used. So in the case of traverse survey, two types of the measurements are required. One is linear measurement, one is angular measurement. So that we will discuss. We will have discussion about all these subjects in all this surveying in detail. We have discussed about the leveling. Leveling is the measurement of the. So leveling deals with the vertical distance measurement. Leveling deals with the vertical distance measurement. In the coming lecture, we will discuss about the term RL. So RL stands for the reduced level. So with the help of the leveling, we can measure the elevation of any point. We can measure the elevation of any point. Sir, please clarify each and every type of survey in more detail. I have already covered in detail. What is your doubt, dear? If you have any doubt at any point, you can ask your doubt. I have already covered I have already explained all the survey. You were there in the class when I was explaining all the surveying, yes or no? Or you missed some discussion? Or you missed some discussion? I have already explained. Again, I am highlighting the key points and the main points from the definition of different surveying. I have discussed about the first. I have discussed about all these surveying one by one. Now from the definition, again I am repeating some key points. Land survey, hydrographic survey, aerial survey, chain survey, traverse survey, leveling work, tachyometric survey we have already discussed. Plane table survey based on the instrument used, you were mentioning. Triangulation based on the methodology. For large area, we can divide the large area into the small triangles, and we can perform the measurements for the small triangles. In this way, we can cover the entire area. So this was the triangulation survey that we have defined based on the methodology used. Yes. So I hope. So till now I have covered 3 topics in the fundamental of surveying. So fundamental of surveying. So we have covered 3 topics. One was definition of surveying. One was definition of surveying. Another was division of surveying. We have divided the surveying into 2 parts, plane surveying and geodetic surveying. And just now we have completed our discussion for the classification of surveying. We have completed our discussion for the classification of surveying. No. Traverse is based on the methodology. Traverse is based on the methodology. Do not get confused. Traverse survey is based on the classification is based on the methods of surveying. Because traverse is not any instrument. Traverse is a method. What do you mean by the traverse? Let me explain. You can just ignore that, Ria. If there is some error, you can just ignore. This is not single classification. You can just ignore. I have covered the definition part. Wait, do not get confused. So these are the different, this is the correct way of the classification. This is the correct way of the classification. I have just explained some important surveying. Yes, do not get confused. Now it's fine. Now it's clear. Now it's fine. Now it's clear. So out of all the surveying, I have covered some important, I have explained some important surveying, those who are frequent in your exam. So this was the definition of all those surveying. Cadastral survey deals with the to locate the boundary or the property line. To locate the boundary or the property line. So let's say there is a large area. Let's say there is a large area like this. So let's say this is the city. This is any city A. Dadan. This is the any city A. And let's say in this city, this is your house. In this city, this is your house. This is my house. This is another house. Something like this. Something like this. Now, how you can define the boundaries? How you can define the boundaries or the property line? How you can define the boundaries or the property line? For that, we need to perform the survey. And this survey is termed as the cadastral survey. To locate the building lines or the property lines. To locate the building lines or the property lines. To locate the building lines or the property lines, we will go for the cadastral survey. We will go for the cadastral survey. Doesn't your doubt is clear? Doesn't your doubt is clear? Confirm in the chat box. Chaliye. Now let's move further. Now let's move further. So now we are going to discuss another important topic in the fundamental of surveying. That is the principles of surveying. Principles of surveying. This is also important from your exam point of view. Let's see. What do you mean by the principle? Theodolite is an instrument which we will use for the angular measurement. Theodolite is an instrument which we will use for the angular measurement. With the help of the theodolite, we can measure the horizontal angle. With the help of the theodolite, we can measure the vertical angle. Total station is the instrument. With the help of the instrument, we can measure the both horizontal distance, vertical distance, as well as both angle, horizontal angle and vertical angle. So these are the various instruments that we will use in the upcoming lecture, that we will use for the measurement. So with the help of the total station, you can measure both distances and both angles. With the help of the theodolite, majorly you can measure the horizontal angle and vertical angle. Clear? This point is clear now? The discussion till now is clear, yes or no? The discussion till now is clear? Okay. So, irrespective whether you are going for the any survey, sir, please discuss labeling. We will have the discussion about the labeling in 6 to 8 hours. Yeah. So I think you have attended the previous lecture. The chapter number 5th is going to be the labeling, and nearly 8 hour discussion will be there related to the labeling only. So we have just classified, we have just introduced these terms, or in for all these chapters we will have the detailed discussion. So there is a separate chapter. We will discuss about the labeling, we will discuss about the plane labeling, we will discuss about the geodetic labeling, we will discuss about the trigonometrical labeling. You can refer the previous lecture slide where I have mentioned all the chapter. So first chapter was the fundamental of surveying, second was the linear measurement, third was the compass surveying, fourth was the traverse surveying, fifth was the labeling, and sixth was the trigonometrical labeling. You can refer. So don't worry. Yes. So whether you are going for the chain survey, whether you are going for the tape survey, whether you are going for the tachyometric survey, whether you are going for the city survey, route survey, cadastral survey, what is your prime objective? The main objective of the surveying was collection of the data. Yes or no? The main objective of the surveying was collection of the data. Can I say how accurately we are going to collect the data will help me to prepare the accurate plan or map? If I want to prepare the plan or map of any field, any ground, any feature, and if we are defining all the points accurately, correctly, there will be less error, there will be no error. We want to collect this data without any error, na? We want to define the relative position of the point without any error. Because if there will be any error in our measurement, that will reflect on the map. With the help of the incorrect data, can you prepare the correct map? With the help of the incorrect data, with the help of the errorful data, can you prepare the correct map? Answer is going to be no. So yes, in the surveying we want to collect the data. In the surveying we want to collect the data, and we want to collect the error-free data. We want to collect the error-free data. That means we want to define the position of relative position of any point accurately, so that with the help of that accurate data we can plan some accurate things. Yes or no? That is very simple thing. Yes or no? So whether you are going for any survey, this principle will help you to reduce your errors in your measurement. If you are following this principle of the surveying, there will be less chances of the error in your measurement. And if there will be less chances of the error, can we say there will be more chances for getting the accurate data? So that's why it is recommended. So that's why it is recommended when you are going for data collection, when you are going for any method, any type of the survey, try to follow these two principles. Try to follow these two principles. There are mainly two principles of the surveying, that if you follow these principles, there will be the less chances of the error in your survey work. With the help of these principles, you can correct the data accurately. What are these principles? What are these principles? Let's understand one by one. The first principle of surveying is saying working from whole to part. Working from whole to part. Again I am repeating. There is one more statement, working from part to whole. Working from part to whole. But This is not the principle of surveying. Working from part to whole is not a principle of surveying. Working from whole to part is a principle of surveying. Working from whole to part is a principle of surveying. Sir, what is this whole to part or part to whole, or is there any difference between whole to part and part to whole? Yes. So let's say there is a park. Let's say there is a ground, there is a park. Let's say there is a park something like this at your locality. You must have seen park in your surrounding, in your nearby. You must have seen some park or ground, yes or no? You must have some park or ground nearby you, yes or no? Yes. Everyone is aware from the park or ground. Okay, that's fine. Obviously, in the park, there will be some feature. In this park, there will be some feature. Like, there are some trees like this. There are some trees like this. There are some walking tracks, something like this. There are some walking tracks, something like this. Yes or no? There are some fountain like this. Various features are there in a park, let's say. I want to prepare the map of this park. If I want to prepare the map of this park, as you know, we need to collect the detail of all these features. We need to define all we need to define the relative position of all the points. Yes or no? And when we will collect the data of all the features, we can represent the same data into the paper, and that paper will be considered as the map. That paper will be considered as the map. For the preparation of the map, we required the relative position, the data of all the features that are available, that are present in this park. So to collect the data, we required certain instruments, we required some methods of the surveying, yes or no? If you want to define the position of this tree, if you want to define the position of this tree, if you want to define the position of this fountain, if you want to define the position of this walking track, you required some instruments, you required some methods of the surveying, yes or no? Yes or no? The first principle of the surveying says, that working from whole to part. So whenever you want to collect the information, you want to collect the data for any ground, any feature, first try to define accurately the boundaries of this feature. The first point, that you should define all these points accurately. So let's say there is a reference point. There is a reference point, and with the help of these reference, first I need to define the position of all the boundary point A, B, C, D accurately. Can I say, if I can define the point A, position of point A, I can define the position of point B, I can define the position of point C, I can define the position of point D. Once I have defined all these position, can I say I have defined this area as a whole? Bolo. As I defined the position of all these 4 points, can I say I have defined this entire area as a whole? The first principle of surveying says working from whole to part. Whenever you are going for the surveying, whenever you are going for the collection of the data, first define the boundaries of your features with higher degree of precision, with highest accuracy. Once we have defined the entire area as a whole, now you can, what you can do? Now you can divide the entire area into the small pieces. Now you can divide the entire area into the small part, and by part you can go for the survey. First do survey for this part, then go survey for this part, this part, this part, this part, this part. First you have defined the entire area as a whole. Now you are covering the entire area by parts. Now you are covering the entire area by part by part. This is the principle of surveying. Sir, if we are following this principle, how we can reduce the error? If we are following the first principle of the surveying that says working from whole to part, so by following this principle, how we can reduce the error in our measurement? So this is my doubt. As you can see, let's say this distance is going to be L1, this distance is going to be L2, this distance is going to be L3, this distance is going to be L4. We have already defined the A and B. So let's say AD is capital L. Let's say the distance AD is capital L. So if all these measurements are correct, at the end of the survey work, can we check our survey work? Can we check our survey work? So if after the measurements, if all these measurements are correct, can I say this L should be equal to L1 plus L2 plus L3 plus L4? Yes or no? This capital L should be equal to L1 plus L2 plus L3 plus L4. If these two quantities are not coming out to be equal, can I say there must be some error in our measurement? If we have defined point A accurately, if we have defined point D accurately, so summation of all the parts should be equal to, the summation of all the parts should be equal to capital L. And if there is any difference, we can identify the, we can identify the error in our measurement. We can identify the error in our measurement. In this way, if you are following the first principle of the surveying, you can prevent the accumulation of the error. I hope what is the first principle of surveying and how it will help you to minimize your error in your measurement. This point is clear to everyone. So first define the entire ground, entire feature as a whole. Now divide the entire feature, entire ground into the small part and perform the survey. Now, let's see the second principle of surveying. Second principle of surveying says to locate any point. To locate any point, take at least two independent measurement. Take at least two independent measurement, or take at least two reference point. Take at least two reference point. What it means? Just wait for a minute. as per the second principle of surveying, if you want to define the position of any point accurately, to perform at least two independent measurement or take at least two reference point for defining the position of that point. So please explain. Let's see. For example, this is the point P. I want to define the position of this point P. I want to define the position of this point P. What first things I required? If I want to define the position of this point P, what is the first and foremost thing that I required? What is the first and foremost thing that I required? Yes, very good. That is the reference. We cannot define the position of this point until and unless we don't know about the reference. So let's say I have considered a point A and I have considered the point B like this. How many reference points are there? How many reference points are there? 2. From these reference points, let's say, if I am measuring this distance AP, if I am measuring this distance BP, can I say, if I can measure the distance AP, I can measure the distance BP, both are the linear measurement? Both are the linear measurement, yes or no? How many independent measurements that we have performed? How many independent measurements we have performed? 2 independent measurements. Both are the linear measurement. From A to distance AP, from B to distance BP, where the line are going to intersect, there will be only one point, that is going to be P. There will be only one point. Can I say in this way I can define the position of point P accurately? Can I say in this way I can define the position of the point P accurately? If I want to define this position from a single point, then we have to take 2 independent measurements. Yes or no? At least, that means minimum. You can take 3 reference, you can take 4 reference, you can take 5 measurements. I don't have any problem. But if you want to define the position of any point accurately, take at least 2 independent measurement or take at least the reference of the 2 point. Let's take one more example. Let's say this is your line AB. Again, I want to define the position of the point P. What I can do? Now I don't want to perform the linear measurement. What I will do? I will measure this angle theta1. I will measure this angle theta2. Can I say this is the angular measurement and this is also the angular measurement? Again, from the angle theta1, from the B angle theta2, the intersection point will represent the position of the point P. Here we have performed 2 linear measurement. Here we have performed 2 angular measurement. One more way, I want to locate this point P with the help of this angle theta and with the help of this length L. Boliye. So this is going to be your linear measurement and this is going to be the angular measurement. We have performed 2 measurement. One linear measurement and one angular measurement. One linear measurement and one angular measurement. So in all the cases, either we have considered the 2 reference point or we have performed 2 independent measurements to define the position of any point accurately. To define the position of any point accurately. So these were the 2 principles of the surveying that we have covered. Working from whole to part, and we have discussed about the second principle, to locate any point. To locate any point, take at least 2 independent measurements. So that was the fourth part of the discussion. That was the fourth part of the discussion. I hope the discussion till now is clear to everyone. Definition of surveying, division of surveying, classification of surveying, and we have also discussed about the principles of surveying. We have also discussed about the principles of surveying. Now, what is the objective of the surveying? What is the objective of the surveying? Yeah, that we have discussed already. The main objective of the surveying is the collection of the data. The main objective of the surveying is to defining the position of a point. Why we are defining the position? Why we are defining the relative position of any point? Can I say to prepare plan or map? If you want to prepare the plan or map, for that data is required, and that data you are going to collect with the help of the surveying. And if you are having the plan or map, then you can go for the further planning. If you have plan or map, then based on that plan or map, you can plan your construction projects, you can calculate the quantities, you can perform some estimations, you can perform some measurements. Like in the first class, you have calculated the area. So if we know the length and width of the feature, if we know the length and width of the ground, we can calculate the area. Yes or no? So the main objective of the surveying is the preparation of plan or map. So this was the fifth topic of the fundamental of surveying. This was the fifth topic of the fundamental of surveying. Now let's move to the last topic. Yes, that we have already covered. What are the various measurements that we are going to perform? So we will perform the horizontal angle. We will perform the vertical distance, horizontal angle. Yes, these are the measurements. What are the various instruments that we have used? So we can use the tape, chain, tachyometer, compass, tachyometer, leveling, dumpy level, sextant, clinometer, theodolite. All these are the instruments that we can perform that we can use for the linear measurement and angular measurement. In your entire syllabus of surveying, we have 15 chapters, yes or no? We have 15 chapters in our surveying, but in all the sub chapters, in the entire syllabus, you will only deal with the two measurements. That's it. We have to deal only with two measurements. One is linear measurement, one is angular measurement. Your entire syllabus will move around only and only these two measurements. Sometimes we are going to use some instrument for the linear measurement. Sometimes we are going to use some instrument for the angular measurements. But the overall discussion will be limited to linear measurement and angular measurement. So these are the various instruments that we will use in the upcoming lecture one by one for the measurements, for the defining the relative position of a point. For defining the relative position of a point. And now we are going to discuss the last topic, that is the operations in surveying. That is the operations in surveying. That is the what are the various operations in surveying. Let's say, now let's take an example. Let's think about that park only that we have considered earlier. So, consider any park, any ground nearby you that you have seen. Have you imagined that park? Have you imagined that park or ground? So, I am going to give you an assignment. Let's say, for example, I am going to give you an assignment. I am going to say you just go and prepare the map of that park. I have just given a simple assignment to you. Just go to that park, whatever park that you have assumed, imagined, and I want map of that particular park. Map means we need to define the relative position of the various points. We need to define the relative position of the various point. Yes or no? If you want to locate the boundary, for that also you need to define some points. If you want to locate the boundary of that park, for that also you need to define some points. And to know the relative position of the point, we will perform the surveying. Yes or no? To collect the information, to collect the relative information of any point we need to perform the surveying. Yes. We have various options. We have various types of the surveying. We have classified the surveying in the today's class itself. In the surveying, to locate the relative position of any point, we required some linear measurements, we required some angular measurements. But there are various instruments that we can use for the linear measurement. There are various instruments that we can use for the angular measurements. So I think the first point, we need to plan certain things. Whenever we will go for the surveying, what will be the first step? Whenever we will go for the surveying, what will be the first step? Whenever we are going to collect the data, whenever we are going to collect the information, what will be the first step? Dear, the first step is going to be the planning. The first step is going to be the planning. What you will do in the first step? You will do the selection for. You will do the selection for instrument. Which instruments we are going to use for the measurements? Yes or no? You are going to do the selections for the methods of the surveying. Which methodology we are going to follow for the collection of the data? What is the desired degree of accuracy? What is the desired degree of the accuracy? What are the various resources that are available with us? How much time we have for the collection of data? When we need to submit the map. If you want to prepare the map in less time, we require more resource. If we have sufficient time, we can collect the data with the help of the limited or less resources. With the help of the limited or less resources, yes or no? So these things you are going to plan, and that is the first part, that is the first operation involved in any surveying. What are the instruments that we are going to use? What are the methods that we will follow? What is the desired accuracy we required? How much detailing we required? And what are the various resources that are available with us? All the things you need to plan. So first step in the first operation in the surveying is going to be the planning. Okay, let's see. You have planned all these things. What next? You have planned all these things. What next? What next you will do? What next you will do? What next you will do? For example, you have selected that I am going to use the chain for the linear measurement. I am going to use the compass for the angular measurement. I will follow the traverse method. I have sufficient time. Yes, we need to execute. So can I say the next operation is going to be the field measurement? all field observation, go to that park, execute your plan, define main stations, define control stations, define the boundary line, start your measurement, perform some linear measurement, perform some angular measurement, collect the data, record the data. Yes or no? So you from planning phase, you physically went to that field and you have performed some measurement. Ultimately, can I say you have collected the data? You have collected the data. So data collection will be there. Data collection will be there. What next? You have collected the data. What next? What next we will do? With the help of the instruments, we have performed certain linear measurements, we have performed certain angular measurements, and we have collected the data. What next? What next we need to do? We will bring that data into our office. We will bring that data into our office. Here we will perform. Here we will arrange and process that data. Whatever data we have collected on the field, it requires certain arrangement. It requires certain processing of that data. Yes or no? It requires certain processing of that data. That we will do on the park itself or on the office. That we will do on the park or in the office. The third phase. So whatever data we have collected, that we need to analyze and process that data. Yes. What next? Once you have arranged all the data, the data that you have collected on the field, what will we do next? Next is going to be the setting out work. That means preparation of plan or map with the help of that systematic data. With the help of that processed data, now you can plot the data into the paper. Now you can prepare the plan or map of that park. You can prepare the plan or map of that park. If anyone having any doubt, any query till now, whatever I have discussed, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. So these are the various operations that are involved in the surveying. These are the various operations that are involved in the surveying. So in this way, beta, we have completed the chapter number 1. And our chapter number 1 was the fundamental of surveying. And in the fundamental of surveying, we have covered the topic like definition of surveying. Definition of surveying. We have covered division of surveying. We have discussed about the classification of surveying. Classification of surveying. We have discussed about the principles of surveying. We have discussed about the objective of surveying. And we have also discussed about the operations in surveying. So these are the topics that we have covered in our chapter number 1, that is the fundamental of surveying. No. Today we will not have any DPP, but the topics that we have covered, from these topics you are getting the very basic and simple question, in your exam, which type of the question, what are the type of the question that you are getting from this chapter, that we will cover in the class itself. So let's see. So I want answer from all of you. I want, these are the questions from your GATE and ESE previous year. From the topic that we have covered, these are the questions that they have asked in your GATE and ESE previous year or in any other exam. So I want answer, whatever explanation was required, that explanation I have already provided to you. So now you can answer all the question. Bola, type of survey in which the shape of the earth is taken into the account is known as the earth surveying or geodetic surveying. Earth surveying or in which taken into the account the surveying in which we are considering the effect of the curvature of earth, in our measurement is known as the geodetic survey. In the case of plane surveying, we have assumed the earth surface as plane surface. In the case of the plane survey, we have assumed the earth surface as the plane surface. So do not commit these type of the silly mistake. Do not commit these silly mistakes. Read the question properly, then mark your answer. Read the question properly, then mark your answer. Now let's solve next question. What is going to be the answer for this question? Read the question carefully, recall the discussion, then mark your answer. Everyone try to mark your answer, beta, in the chat box. Everyone try to mark your answer. Yes. So, a survey which consists of a horizontal and vertical location of the certain point by linear and angular measurement is made to determine the natural or man-made features. To locate the detail of the natural or man-made features, we will go for the topographical survey. The data we are going to collect with the help of the topographical survey, and when we will plot this data, we will get the topographical map. So we can prepare the topographical map, and it will define the position of the man-made and the natural resources, natural features. Clear? Now let's move to the next question. All these questions are very basic. All of you can easily answer. Just try to read the question carefully, then mark your answer. Read the question carefully, then mark your answer. So the survey in which the earth surface is assumed as the plane. The survey in which the earth surface is assumed as a plane surface. Curvature of earth is ignored. Is known as the plane survey. So I hope you are getting this idea कि which type of the question they are asking in the exam from this particular chapter. Yes or no? So in this way we are going to complete our discussion. We will have the discussion. First we will have the discussion about the concept. Then we will practice some question in the class itself. and rest PYQs, DPP and test you have to attempt at your own. So when you will follow the entire process, your learning experience is going to be extremely good. So do not expect that all the questions I am going to solve in the class itself. So that will boost my confidence, not yours. If I am solving all the question in the class, all the PYQs in the class, it will boost my confidence, not yours. And you have to appear in the exam. You have to appear in the exam. If you want to get the score, if you want to get the rank, you have to face the questions. So I will guide you, I will support you, but you have to run at your own. I hope the point is clear to everyone. Now let's move to the next question. Now let's move to the next question. Now let's move to the next question. What will be the answer? What will be the answer? Very good. The main principle of the surveying is to work from part to whole. Nahi bhaiya. The main principle of the surveying is working from whole to part. Working from whole to part, not to part to whole. So I hope the entire discussion from the today's class is clear to everyone. So in this way, we have completed our chapter number 1, that was the fundamental of the surveying. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you have understood all the concepts in detail. So now it's your turn. Now it's your turn. You need to revise all the concepts. So before attending tomorrow's class, try to revise all these concepts. Try to complete the PYQs of GATE and ESE. So at least, if you are preparing for all the technical exam, for any technical exam in India, so for all the technical exam, you need to practice at least GATE and ESE PYQ. So this is the minimum requirement. As you have discussed in the case of second principle of surveying. So if you want to define the position of any point accurately, perform at least 2 independent measurement or take the reference of at least 2 points. In the same way, for the preparation of any technical exam in India, you need to practice at least GATE and ESE PYQ. Apart from the GATE and ESE you are doing, that's no problem with that. You can prepare Maharashtra PSC exam, you can prepare UP PSC exam, you can prepare MP PSC exam. I don't have any problem. But at least you should prepare GATE and ESE. You should practice GATE and ESE PYQs. So this was the discussion for the today's class. I hope you enjoyed the session. See you tomorrow for the further discussion. Thank you everyone. Keep learning.